Now, Super League Review with Mark Wilson on Radio Yorkshire.
As Noddy Holder famously sang, so here it is, Merry Christmas, or there it was. And there it was, 2014 in Rugby League, a year you heard live on Radio Yorkshire. Hello, my name is Richard Shaw-Wright, joined by our Rugby League commentator, football commentator, just about everything these days, Mark Wilson. Mark, how are you?
I'm all right, mate. I hope you've had a good Christmas and all your family are well. It seems a long time ago, the Rugby League season. Looking forward to reminiscing about it here for the next couple of hours. But also, I think just like every other Rugby League fan in the world, now it's Christmas. It means the Super League and the Championship season is just around the corner. Can't wait for it to come. Obviously, 2 live games every weekend. Might be throwing a bit of Championship stuff in as well this year. So it's all here on the home of Rugby League, Radio Yorkshire.
Yeah, we're not the new home anymore. We are the home of Rugby League, getting ready for 2015, as you say. It's that time of year where everyone starts to get excited, the anticipation of a new season, expectations are high, hopefully not cruelly dashed within weeks, but we'll start by looking back at 2014, and just in general at the season as a whole. Came down to a grand final, St Helens versus Wigan. Sadly, no Yorkshire involvement in that one. A controversial grand final, for one obvious reason which we spoke about at the time. But St Helens, League Leaders Shield winners, Grand Final winners, and a team who, in a sense, for much of the season, pretty much were written off by everyone, including ourselves at times. Yeah,
I make no bones about that. I wrote them off numerous times, Rich. I'm not going to lie about that. I look back at the season, and it's difficult when you're in amongst it. It always seems very exciting, and obviously it's the tightest finish we've had for a number of years. But you look back at 2014, and you look at the St Helens side that won the tournament and all the injuries that they have, and you wonder, was the competition actually that good this year? And that's not being critical. You know, it had some good games and some bad ones, as it always does, but was it that good? I actually think in 2015 the standard's going to go up a heck of a lot. But yeah, they all talk about what a marathon the Super League season is. Well, it was decided by 2 seconds, wasn't it? 2 seconds when Ben Flower punched Lancer higher, and that's what the season will be remembered for.
Which is a shame, but I guess the good thing about that is, if there can be a good thing, the punishment the RFL have dished out, widely praised. No one's really had a go at it, and we will get on with things in 2015, and hopefully that negative memory, which was all over the media, amazing how they recognise Rugby League at times and then at other times forget it. Sam Burgess, sorry, got a frog in my throat there, I don't know what happened there, but St Helens champions. Leeds, of course, winning the Challenge Cup final. We'll talk about that later. The All Yorkshire final back in August, which was a great moment for us here on Radio Yorkshire. And I guess we have to start, sadly, at the bottom end of the table. We'll try and make this painless for Bradford Bulls fans. I guess the only positive thing for them is, or the main positive things is a clean slate now. Things start all over again. They weren't relegated because of the points deduction in the end. They were relegated by 11 points from Wakefield, who finished 12th, but things positive off the field and looking positive on the field for 2015.
Well, I think it's the first time, Rich, as a Bradford fan. You know, I'm from Bradford, and Bradford are my team. It's the first time for a number of years that as a fan you can look forward to the season and think, hang on, we've actually got something to look forward to here. We might have a winning team. Not had that for a while. I think there's a little bit of excitement about life in the Championship. There's a little bit of fear about life in the Championship because there's probably 6, 7, maybe 8 teams think they can win it or certainly get in the top 4, and not everyone's going to get in. And what happens after that would be a concern, but that's for further down the line. Jimmy Laws is in. Credit Mark Green. He's put the squad together early. He's allowed Laws to get who he wanted when he wanted them. He's put the squad together early. They've had a full pre-season at it already. They were in ridiculously early. But he's trying to break it down, get them in, give them some time off, get them down, give them some time off. And I actually think Bradford started rebuilding the minute they got relegated at Huddersfield that day. And you know what? I think it's a breath of fresh air for the club because, as you know, supporting Wakefield, and this is not being derogatory to them, but when you're fighting all the time for your life and everyone's expecting you to fail, it does get quite downbeat. It gets quite difficult to live with that. And I think you can get ground down by it. So, look, Bradford are out of Super League. You know, everyone can't believe it. It's sunk in now. They're a championship team. How long depends upon the group of players that James Laws has got together.
If we use an analogy from football, I mean, you can look at Leeds United for a start, but we'll go to Scotland and Rangers. It doesn't have that appearance there where Rangers is just a complete mess at the moment still. Bradford look more secure than they have done for a long, long time. And I think this is what's happened at Wakefield as well. You've got people in charge who are trying to run things as best they can as a business rather than, you know, throwing money into a bin and setting it on fire.
Well, what did Mark Green say when he come in? I'm a businessman. I'm not a rugby league man. I'm a businessman. He's got rugby league people around him to hopefully help him make the right decisions in that respect. He's there to make sure, come the end of the season, that the pounds and pennies all add up and they're all in the right place. And if they are, then Bradford have got a chance whatever division they're in. They're going to be well supported in the Championship. You know, you're going to get a lot of local fans coming to Wadsall. It'll be a big game in the Championship. And that's not big, that's not being clever. It is going to be a big game. You know, Halifax haven't played Bradford in a league game for a lot of years. Like I said, Dewsbury and Batley are all going to enjoy going. And what about when Lee, you know, opening game of the season? So it's all there. I said at the time, it could be the best thing that happens to the Bradford Bulls, and I mean that as well. And I say it as a fan, and hopefully James Laws will turn it around.
Sport, very much like the film Sliding Doors. If you get on the train, something different happens to you if you don't get on the train. And we'll hear from a man who we had in the studio midway through the season, a fantastic guest, Dr. Marwan Kukash, in a few moments' time. But the great thing about sport is it's the what-if moments. What would have happened to Bradford? Well, not Dr. Kukash, of course, but Mandy Kukash, had she taken over at Odsall. We shall never know. That's the great mystery of sport. We'll hear Dr. Marwan Kukash in a few moments after probably the highlight of Bradford's season on the field, certainly for their supporters, and that was the win at Headingley over Leeds, which you heard here on Radio Yorkshire.
Oh, Bradford are in, but is it going to be a try? A kick was put up by Gale. He's given it. The kick to the corner by Luke Gale in amongst all of that. And Tom Briscoe made a real porridge of the kick. And I think the Leeds players felt there was a Bradford knock-on when they went up to challenge for the ball. And we're just going to wait now and see who actually put that ball down. It's probably Matty Blythe.
Yeah, we're edging his bets with that. It looked like a winger's catch on the far side of the field, and which brought about the try.
But what a start for Bradford, and as I said, if Gale had farmed that pass out there to Pitts, it was beautiful dummy, broke clear on the left-hand side, and if he got it out to Pitts, that would have been a try. But credit Bradford, they didn't panic. And a simple kick into the corner, and on a drizzly night like this, and it's paid dividends. Leeds 0, Bradford 4.
It certainly has. Gale, I just think, got a little bit excited once he broke into open space.
It's Danny Williams, by the way, who scored a try. Sorry, carry on.
That's all right. Gale got a bit excited in open space. He could have given the ball to Pitts, but he chose to dummy and was tackled. But what he did once he played the ball, stayed alive and put himself in a good position to put the kick in. The kick was from about centre field over to the right wing as Bradford were attacking, and Williams was obviously the recipient of the kick and scored the points.
Maguire, Hardacre going through the hands now. Church breaks the line there, cuts back inside, and he's over for the try. And that's good work from the big Australian there. 24 minutes to go here in this first half, and Leeds are back on terms. Leeds Rhinos 4, Bradford Bulls 4. Andy.
Yeah, nice bit of sustained pressure there from Leeds. They got the return set, so from the dropout, they've very quickly attacked the left side of the field and set up position then to move the ball to the right. It's gone through the usual conduit of players in Maguire and Burrows, but it's found its way into the hands of Hardacre coming in at loose fullback, who put the ball early into Church's hands, and then that guy's just too big and strong. He's got good footwork, and he tiptoed his way through what was left of the Bradford defence and found the space to go over.
Gale, kick. Oh, he's made a mess of it as Tom Briscoe kick through, and another kick through. Bradford have touched down. Maybe this will be given because it was the advantage play. And Tom Briscoe again has made a real mess of that kick, and the try is given, and Luke Gale was Johnny on the spot there, and he's touched it down from his own kick forward.
Yeah, well, that's just reward. What we saw from Bradford not a set ago was some real physical and aggressive defence. It restricted Leeds to the yardage they could make up the field, and therefore the kick was poor. Bradford then had good field position to attack from, went through the set of 6, and it was Gale who put a little kick in, and testimony again to Bradford's effort tonight. The kick chase was good, and as the error came from Briscoe in the backfield, Bradford players were flooding through and hunting the ball. A little toe poke through, and it was Luke Gale then, the recipient of the kick, into the in-goal area. He dives on it and he makes it another 4 points for Bradford, and they deserve that 4 points for the last 2 sets. One on defence, one on attack.
This is Ayton, busy, industrious, out now to Burrow. Little chip through the line. Maguire, was he taken out? Yes, he was. The ball's come loose. Leeds will carry on the advantage play, and Brett Delaney has kicked a loose ball over the try line and has dropped upon it. The referees are talking. What's it going to be? Yes, it's a try. I think Maguire made a bit of a meal of that, to be fair. Academy Awards and all that, but Leeds have hit back straight away there, Andy, and that was good work from Brett Delaney in the end there. The presence of mind, didn't try to pick up the loose ball, just gently dipped it over the line with his foot and then put his hand down on it to bring Leeds, well, you think, to parity now, because Hardacre has a kick from relatively close range.
Yeah, that's just the right response as far as Brian McDermott's concerned from the Leeds Rhinos. And again, it was sustained pressure, and sustained pressure in this game is just 2 back-to-back sets. We don't seem to have any consistent kind of effort other than that. But it was a good piece of play by Leeds. Maguire kicked early, which caught the Bradford defence out, and probably for the first time tonight caught them a little bit sort of undercooked.
This is Maguire. Delays his pass, but it kicks up high. Blythe's lost it. Leeds have got it. Leeds have touched the ball down, and they've got the try. Oh, and again, how many times have those kicks into the corner resulted in tries tonight? And Maguire's kick, Blythe couldn't deal with it. Leeds regain the lead at 14-12. There are 9.5 minutes. Luke Briscoe.
Again, I think Leeds got a little bit lucky there, because what happened in the middle of the field was Maguire was going to put a play on, and all the option runners had overrun him, and he was in danger of creating an obstruction. His experience stopped him crossing behind one of his own players, and instead he went to the boot and he put a kick over to the right hand corner as he was facing it, and then it was obviously contested in the air by Blythe. Blythe tipped it on right into the hands of Briscoe, and Briscoe, Johnny on the spot, was able to put the ball down, score the 4 points, wide out on the field. There's no Sinfield. Hardacre's got the job of trying to convert this, but Leeds are back in front, 14-12.
The Leeds players gesturing to each other to stay firm in that defensive line. This is Luke Gale. Spins, offloads to Gaskell. Can he get the ball out? Steps inside! Gaskell! He's under! Has he won it for Bradford? The Bradford fans are going bananas behind us. Pipe pots are being thrown into the air, and trust me, when a Yorkshireman gives away his ale, mind you, it might just be glasses full of rainwater, Andy, now.
Yeah, it could be.
But what a try that was from Lee Gaskell.
It'll be well diluted. Don't anybody try and tell me this doesn't mean anything to Bradford. It's not a dead rubber. They've worked hard. They've come from behind again to push themselves in front. But when Gaskell scored that try, and that try was well worked, and it showed a lot of good individual skill to finish it. Footwork from Gaskell, acceleration, took on the Hardacre and beat him on the inside and went under the post. And not did he just celebrate it in front of the Bradford fans, but every Bradford player joined him. So don't tell me it don't mean anything to him. It means a lot to him.
This is Super League Review on Radio Yorkshire.
If your wife's bid for Bradford had been accepted, would things have been different? Would they be in the same position they are today?
Well, I'm sure it would have been different, because it's no secret that my wife did share her proposal with me, and I did look at it, and she did commit to £1 million in cash to be injected into the club, strengthening the playing squad. And with £1 million, I'm sure, the coach, Francis Cummings at the time, could have brought in quite a lot of quality players to enable him or the team to survive. So, in a way, yeah, I think if my wife's proposal had been successful, Bradford might have been in a different position to where they are now. But that's history now.
An opportunity missed, Phil?
Well, not even so much signing players. They might have been able to hold on to some of the ones that they lost as well, because if you look at... I mean, Bradford's an interesting case. A lot of people are looking at this season and saying how far the club have fallen, but it is actually 9 full seasons since they last won the grand final, so it's been a gradual decline. But when you look at the fact that in 2005 they sold Stuart Fielden for just short of £500,000, they were that cash rich at the time. It was a world record transfer fee. There's a whole lot of circumstances that club has gone through, some of which is of their own making. Some of the recruitment, Matt Orford, Glenn Hall, there was a lot of money spent on players who perhaps weren't what they should have been. There was a disengagement with the community there, that at the times of great success that they weren't, the links with the clubs, the amateur clubs in the area weren't as strong as they should have been, so that when success in terms of winning games started to fall off, it was easy to not support them rather than have a buy-in to the club. But again, we go back to the role of the RFL. I am still mystified, and maybe you can help on this, because it didn't seem to be transparent at the time. Is there not a conflict of interest when you buy a club stadium?
Well, there must be. Let's ask the RFL, and they could answer the question in the future. Why on earth have they turned down requests from me and from other chairmen for a total independent inquiry into what's happened over the last couple of years, 2.5 years? And there must be a conflict of interest there, because the RFL are sitting on a site that they have previously bought for peanuts compared to what it's worth now. And I'm sure the RFL would have been in a position to have known that, for example, my wife would have taken, because she would have had the right to buy the site back from the RFL for almost the same kind of money they paid for it. And that would have gone to the club. And all of a sudden, the club could have become one of the richest clubs, and with plenty of resources for the future.
Super League Review with Mark Wilson on Radio Yorkshire.
We're looking back at 2014 in the sport of Rugby League here on Radio Yorkshire, and a good season for a change for the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats. 12th in the table, avoiding relegation, and in the end, Mark, a very comfortable avoidance of relegation.
Yeah, good season for the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats. You're written off by the millions that have an opinion on rugby league, and everyone thought they were going down. You look at the start of the season, they didn't have a squad of players. And I remember Richie Mathers told us that you looked round and thought, well, we've got a fullback, we've got a prop, we've got a hooker, where's everybody else? And it's very difficult. It's no fluke, is it, that the three teams that had the worst pre-season, i.e. they had complete insecurity about their future, London, Bradford and Wakefield, are the three teams that finished the bottom three in Super League. This year, Wakefield have had that chance to build. James Webster's been given the chance by Michael Carter to put his team together, to get players at the end of the season who were injured, get them in for the surgery, get them fixed up, get them ready for 2015. And, it might... Again, I don't want to seem derogatory to say it's been a successful season finishing 12th, but from where they started from, I think every Wakefield fan and everyone involved with the club would have accepted it. And as you said, they did it with a bit of ease, to be fair. I'm sure had it been a bit tighter at the bottom come the end, they might have pulled another win or two out from here and there. But, we saw Richard Agar move on. I think that came as a bit of a shock to us all at the time. But James Webster's a man who seems to know what he wants. He got that instant response from his team. They went on a great run of form. We had Michael Carter on the show. I think that's the good thing about our show, is that when we get guests on like Michael, you get the honest opinion. You know, I've said this to you before, I cover a lot of football. The answers are all polished answers. They're pre-wheeled out. You get someone on from rugby, they tell you honestly what's going on. And I would ask any Wakefield fan who didn't believe what Michael Carter was saying to tell me why, because everything he said made sense. And basically, so far, everything he said he's done. And I think as a fan, that's all you can ask.
We'll hear from him in a few moments. Just going back to Richard Agar, results have proven otherwise, I guess, since the fact. But I said at the time, I don't think Wakefield fans or elements of the Wakefield support necessarily gave him a chance in the job, mainly due to circumstance. When he was appointed, supporters asked the incumbents running the club at the time whether they'd be appointing Agar or not, and they said no, and a few weeks later he was appointed. I don't think some fans ever got over that, but James Webster, very positive when you speak to him, and the squad they've put together for next season. The main aim has to be, for any club in that bottom four, as it will be now, 9th to 12th, which has 3 of our sides in, unfortunately, we'll come to the Hull sides later, is finishing at 8th, you know, trying to get away from that middle 8, because that next season is going to be fascinating. How the bottom 4 from Super League and the top 4 from the Championship compete against each other, especially if you think about it. The likes of Bradford, if we assume Bradford are going to be up at the top, are going to be on a winning run, and the teams down the bottom in the Super League are going to be on a losing run. So it's going to be fascinating to see how that works. Yeah,
it is going to be fascinating to see, and it's going to be a big season for Wakefield. A little bit more, dare I say, expectation on them. They haven't just been written off as the rubbing rags this year, and they've got every chance to make. No, they've got every chance to make the top 8. You know, I'm looking at the likes of Widnes. You know, all the teams that finish below Widnes will feel that they can catch Widnes. Catalan have recruited well. That's going to be a tough one, and you've got to be honest. You can't see too many of the top 6 failing badly. You know, people will wonder if Castleford come back their season. It will come to them later on. But for me, Wakefield, they've got an even playing field this time. They need luck with injuries, because James Webster said they're going to go small with the squad. They're trying to get quality rather than have numbers but no quality. You know, and sometimes fortune favours the brave, and hopefully it favours Wakefield. They've got a lot of time for them. I think they've come out of a really tough time, and I think they're coming out of it with a lot of credit at the moment. And long may that continue. You know, just shows, doesn't it? If you run your club properly. You know, and again, we'll come on to Cass later on. You don't have to have the biggest budget in the world. If you look after what you've got and you spend it wisely, you can achieve anything.
Let's hear from Michael Carter, and the Wakefield chairman, as many top names through the season joined us on Super League Review. We're back Mondays in the new Super League season here on Radio Yorkshire from 7. And here's what Michael Carter said to us earlier in the year about life in charge of the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats.
Super League Review with Mark Wilson on Radio Yorkshire.
Based on our average crowd from this season, if we can get 1,800 more than that next season, we have the ability to spend the full salary cap.
Wow.
That's the challenge for us.
So that's is that 1,800 full adult paying?
No, that's the mix of what we get now.
Yeah.
So if we can get, I think our average is somewhere around about the 4,500 mark. You know, if we can get to 6,300, 6,500, whatever, 6,300, we would have the ability to spend a full salary cap. I'm not saying we will, but it would give us that ability. I'm still not a believer that money is the be-all and end-all of putting a squad together, and I think we've shown that this year.
I guess the other problem you've got, and it's not an elephant in the room because everybody knows about it, it's the facility.
Yeah.
Because again, to get more away fans there, you've got to give them a slightly better experience for the money you need to charge them, which obviously you've had some fantastic work done on the ground by mainly a volunteer staff, and it's coming along.
Yes.
But I would imagine that that's coming into your equation as well.
I think when you look around the ground, it looks a lot cleaner, a lot tidier, a lot more presentable, but it's still a 100-year-old ground, and that's the issues we face. You know, we've got something on the table now where, you know, we're supposed to move to Newmarket. Things, for whatever reason, have hit a little bit of a stumbling block with that. There's both options still on the table, whether we move to Newmarket or redevelop Bellevue. But from my point of view, something's got to happen, and happen quickly. And that involves the council, York Court, who are the developers, the Stadium Trust that's headed by Sir Rodney Walker. You know, we've really got to start moving on this, because I think with the advent of this new Super League era, we really have a chance to sort of capitalise on the fact that we're in it. And you know, but we need things to move quickly for that to happen, really.
Okay, Rich. Ground. We've been asked about it again, haven't we? I'm looking at one of the tweets coming in about the plans to improve home crowds at Bellevue. What can you do?
Well, it's something we've talked about in the week. Myself and Chris. Neither of us are marketing or PR people. So one of the things that we've talked about at the end of the season is, do we go out and actively try and employ somebody? Now, there's always a cost to employing somebody. Do we get a PR firm in? Again, it's down to cost. We're still not, got loads of money in the bank and things are going along swimmingly. We're still fighting some of the old debts that we inherited. So there's always a cost issue to it. And people say, well, take a punt on it. Well, you've got to have that money to start with. It's no good gambling away money that you haven't got. That's what got the club into trouble in the previous, regime. So it's a difficult one. It's not something that I'm comfortable with, but we're going to have to do something, and it is on the horizon, but I can't give you a definitive answer yet.
As an outsider looking in, it seems to me you came in, you looked at what the situation was, you were brutally honest with the fans and said, look, we've got to cut our costs accordingly. Yeah. You've done that. I don't think the fans can have too many complaints what you've done. We've spoke a lot about Bradford and the fact that the fans and the players keep getting lied to, for want of a better phrase, in the past. Hopefully that's changing now. You've been honest with them. Do you think now that they're starting to see a little bit more on the field that there will be that 1,500, 1,600 you need to come in?
Well, I hope so. I mean, to put it into context, I would say that 90%, I mean, I'm plucking that figure out there, but my gut feel says 90% of the fans are totally on board with what we've done. And there's still a very, very small minority that, despite winning against Leeds and against Wigan, there's something to moan about, and they're the moments that probably get me down more than anything. It's just you think, I've had a really fantastic night tonight, and then suddenly you're bombarded with issues that you think, well, can't we just enjoy this win to start with? And I'm not saying that there isn't problems in the ground. We're fully aware of that, but some of the problems are out of our hands. We get directives sent down from sporting bodies and sporting authorities that we have to adhere to. And we've got a case of point in the minute where some of our fans have got issue with the stewarding and how the stewards are treating people. Well, we get these edicts handed down to us. If our ground safety officer is not happy that we're implementing those edicts, then he won't let us put the game on. So it's a really catch sort of 22 for us that we can't afford to go soft on some of the things that we have to do. Otherwise we simply don't get a game, and the guy signing it off won't let us go ahead with it. And if something did go wrong, it's his neck on the line, and it's my neck on the line, and it's Chris's neck on the line, and these things can end up in jail. We've seen it in the past with sports grounds. There's always somebody that takes the blame for incidents that happen, and I'm not willing to go to jail for anybody.
This is Super League Review on Radio Yorkshire.
And Link could dance away. Oh, he didn't have the pace. He bumped Thorne off. Now he's going for the corner. He's up against Shaw. He bumps him off. He's in. What a try from Reece Lynn. And Wakefield have him back. Tremendous play. The former Hull FC man dances 50 yards to score. What a finish. Pace, skill and power. They're going to move it now with Smith out the back. Not the best pass. They got it on the far side. They need a moment of brilliance, and it's not forthcoming. They have still got 2 tackles left. I thought that was the last one. Here they are now with Smith. Goes back down the blind side. They've got the numbers. Mathers gets it away. Try Wakefield. They might just have won it 2 minutes to go. And the try is given in the corner. Wakefield might just have landed a knockout blow. And it's Richie Owen who scores the try. Great play from Smith. Mathers with a pass. Owen dives in. Wakefield 16, Leeds 14.
I think you said they need a bit of luck. Mask slip there. They need a lot of luck to lose 20 yards or so on that play from Tautai, to go back to where the scrum was, to get the ball, find the gap on that right hand side, and what a finish. What a finish to this match.
This is Super League Review on Radio Yorkshire.
Now, Bradford and Wakefield done. Not being the best of years for our teams in East Yorkshire. We'll start at the KC Stadium. Hull FC 11th in the table, 22 points, 10 wins, 2 draws. And Lee Radford, he'll be under pressure at the start of next season. I know everyone's under pressure in Hull. Everyone Gary Schofield's told us, Phil Kaplan tells us, everyone who comes in from Hull tells us, it is a goldfish bowl. It is difficult for people outside of Hull to understand the pressure on both clubs. But Hull FC, controversially the larger of the two perhaps, it's going to be a very tricky start to 2015. If it all goes wrong, immediately the pressure goes back on Radford.
Yeah, I think anyone that got a dictionary for Christmas, if you look up underachiever in that, you would find Hull FC and another season of underachievement. You talk about the pressure on Radford. I think it's cranked up already by the fact that Adam Pearson has backed him with signings. They're bringing in Price and Sneed to help run their team for 2015. Whether that will prove to be money well spent, well, time will tell, as it always does in sport. They've had a poor year, a really poor year, and Hull will look back and think, without being derogatory again, when was the last time they had a decent pair of halfbacks that really ran the show? I go to Hull every season and think this club should be in the top four. They've got the fan base, they've got the ground, they've got the facilities, they've got the passion in the city, and yet they always let you down. And that's the problem for Hull. They'll feel they've signed well. Some people think they maybe have signed a couple of players that are a bit too far down their career. But again, time will tell on them. I like Lee Radford. He's always honest. I just remember interviewing him last year after the Bradford game when they were awful that day. Got well beaten at Bradford. And Lee Radford didn't know what to say, and he said that at the end. The interview lasted about 90 seconds, and he said, as soon as I turned the mic off, he said, I didn't know what to say. I can't sum up that performance. It was that bad. And unfortunately for Lee Radford, there were too many of those performances. And I'll go on record as saying now, if they don't get off to a good start, he would be my favourite to go. And I hope that doesn't happen. Like I said, I've got a lot of time for Lee, and he's always good whenever we speak to him. But facts are facts. This is a ruthless sport. And Adam has got a football background. Some would say he's been overly patient at the minute. But I'd like to think as well that Pearson realises that he isn't going to turn Hull, round quickly. I heard someone in the media say during the season that turning Hull around is like turning around one of those North Sea ferries. It's not going to happen. You're not just going to swing the wheel and it turns around, it's going the other way. It's going to take a long time. They've got to do a big U-turn to get turned round. And I think they will. I'm not overly convinced by their signings, I'll be brutally honest, but hopefully we're here to be proved wrong. I think it's going to be another season of struggle for Hull FC, I really do. But we'll see what happens.
Oddly, a positive points difference, the only one below 8th in the table to have one of those, but still, they finish 11th. It has to be a very disappointing season for Hull FC. 3 Hull derbies this season, a couple of crackers as well, and this is how Magic Weekend's match sounded on Radio Yorkshire.
Super League Live with Mark Wilson on Radio Yorkshire.
Burns gets the ball out wide. Can he get the ball out for Cockayne? He can. They've got the overlap. They should score. Dived into the corner. And that could be the first try. And Liam Salter thinks he's got it. And there's a big fight off the ball. Controversy at the Magic Weekend. Hull KR think they've scored, but there's a big scrap. 20 players involved. Let the video referee have a look at this one.
Hull KR went very, very direct on that set of 6, and in that got some quick play of the ball, got in between a couple of the Hull FC defenders, quick play of the ball, got to the midpoint of the field, and then they put the play on. The ball out the back, into the hands, got on the outside, and once it was in the hands of Salter, he got no other thought in mind other than to go for the corner.
Try is given, so Hull KR have first blood on the Magic Weekend. He's going to try and swing it in across the post. It looks pretty good. It is pretty good. Perfect start for the Robins. They're bobbing along. 11 gone here. Hull KR 6, Hull FC 0. Walker looking to offload the ball, but there's no one to give it to. He'll play it down. They're going to go down the short side again. They've gone for the power play, and they're in. Leroy scores. Second try for the Robins. Great play from Hodgson at dummy half, and from that close in, Leroy was not going to be denied. High fives all round. Rovers lead 10-0.
Hodgson proving to be a key and pivotal player for Hull Kingston Rovers, playing at hooker for the Robins today, and he made a telling break earlier, not minutes ago, earlier on. He's now actually got in very, very quickly off the back of two good drives from Hulkingston Rovers to the right of the post. Very quick to seize an opportunity. He gave the ball to Leroy. Leroy, you mentioned earlier in commentary, playing very, very well and always impressive for Hulkingston Rovers. Beat his challenger. I think he spun out of the tackle and crashed over just to the right of the post. So nice piece of play from Hulkingston Rovers. A little bit of finesse and a lot of aggression.
Just trying to pinch every inch here, the Hull FC defence that they can. They need something and they need it quickly. Ball one-handed offload and Hodgson is on the move again up to halfway. He offloads it back in field and Burns has stepped out of two tackles. Burns up against Shaw. Got a man on the inside. He gives it to Keating. Keating's not tackled. He's still going, sidestepping his way. Gets an offload out, and that is going to be a sensational Hull Kingston Rovers try. What a move it was! It was a break from Hodgson, followed up by Burns. Keating then, and the ball is put down, and it's a second try for Liam Salter. Rovers in Dreamland, they lead 16-0.
Oh, fantastic piece of play. That's an exciting try, because that was all about anticipation and determination. It was Hulkingston Rovers who pushed through the middle of the field. Walker with an audacious offload gave the ball to Hodgson. Hodgson then with another audacious offload gave the ball to Burns. He's strong, he's quick. He gets through, he draws the fullback and gives it to Keating. Now Keating's wrapped up by three Hull defenders, but oh no, he's going to continue. And then a fantastic piece of skill as he's going to ground with three Hull FC defenders there, bringing him to the floor. He gets an offload to the hands of Salter. He gathers the ball and crashes over by the right hand side of the post. Great try.
You can certainly hear the Hull KR fans here. They're right next to us in the main stand at the Etihad here. And the ball is tackled 35 away. Here comes Danny Houghton out of dummy half. Swings the ball back. They're going to move it here with Westerman onto the ball. Short pass. Great pass. Hadley's through. Hadley should score. Steps inside. Kikane will roll over and score. Sensational play. And this time it's Joe Westerman of Hull FC. And the try is given. It's a try. No, it's not given. He looked as though he was going to point to the spot. He's going to go upstairs. Hadley it is. I think he's hurt his neck in scoring the try. For me, that's a try, but what a pass from Westerman.
Well, Westerman burst into the game there, didn't he? He just picked the ball up on the right-hand side of the field. He just shaped out to the left. He skirted away from the Hull KR defenders. And as the outside defender stepped into Westerman, it was Hadley who came up on his outside and picked up the ball, and he skated through the gap that Westerman had created.
The try's going to be given. I thought Richard Silverwood was going to give it at the time, but he may as well make use of the video referee. The try is given and Hull FC have it back. Ball is going to be played now out on the far side, and Hull FC have made a break, and it's Yeaman over the halfway line, over the 20, back inside, and Jamie Shaw slides over. Second Hull FC try of the afternoon. It comes a minute from the half-time hooter, and it's game on at the Magic Weekend. Hull FC 10, Hull KR 18.
Well, there you go. We're talking about piecing attacks together, and that's come right in from back play. It's probably 30 metres out from the Hull Kingston Rovers line when Hull FC have got the ball.
Keating, he finds Burns out the back. They're going to move it. Oh, that's a shocking tackle. And Crooks, who was at fault earlier on with a drop catch, well, he didn't make a miss there. He's absolutely cleaned out the Rovers man. And I tell you what, this could be a red card. That was a poor tackle from Crooks.
Well, he's not renowned for red cards, Richard Silverwood. He's not renowned for reacting without thinking first. So he'll have a good talk. He'll have somebody discussing it in his ear. But that was a bad tackle.
He's pointing him out. Is it going to be red or yellow? He's saying to Crooks, come here. It's red. He has gone. Big moment in the Magic Weekend derby for Hull FC. 5 away underneath the sticks. Here's Burns out the back here. Kikane into the line. Chance for Horn. Gives it to Gardner. And Gardner strolls in. Very, very unselfish from Graham Horn. And Adi Gardner has his derby day try. Hull KR 24. Hull FC 12.
Well, there's the try that you talked about that will test Hull FC's resolve even further. The try is by Gardner in the corner, but it was constructed very, very well by a number of Hull Kingston Rovers players, making pass and catch decisions in very, very quick time.
and Hull are on the line, and they could be over here. Danny Houghton goes through a tackle, and Danny Houghton has scored, and Hull will not be denied. Great one-on-one steal that set up the play, and then Danny Houghton from dummy half dives over. Hull FC refuse to lie down. It's Hull FC 16, Hull KR 26.
These games are not for lying down. When there's bragging rights at stake in Hull, you've got to play for the full 80 minutes, and if you don't, you feel the wrath of your own supporters. So Hull FC have responded in a very, very positive manner.
Full set in the tank here for Hull FC. If they were to score now, this would be game on. Here's Miller, short pass, Palliasina, he's going to score, is he? He bumps one off, he's over the line, but has he got it down? He has, says Richard Silverwood. Too big, too strong, Palliasina's in, and Hull are in dreamland. It's Hull 22, Hull KR 26.
Oh, somebody just drove a bulldozer through Hull Kingston Rovers' hearts. That's Palliasina. His first two efforts in his second half were in his own half, outside his own 10, driving the ball forward, and they had all the energy he actually caught that ball with, and he caught that ball 12 metres off the Hull Kingston Rovers line and just powered through it like it wasn't there. He dragged Leroy, who's no lightweight, he dragged him 10 metres behind him like a horse and cart before scoring the try.
Here's Josh Hodgson in at dummy half, looks left, comes right, Keating onto it, gives it now for Burns out the back, they've got the numbers, Horn for Gardner for the corner, Gardner scores! I wonder if Miller should have made more of an effort to tackle him and put him in the touch. He didn't, and the try is given. Gardner's second, and is that the breaking point of this Hull derby? Hull KR lead 30 points to 24.
Well, we said that Hull KR had gone down the lines of completing sets, putting kicks to corners, turning Hull FC round, trying to find some weakness and error and sap some of the energy, and it was Payer that came up with a mistake in midfield that gave Hull KR the position to attack. And on this occasion, when they came to the right hand side of the field, again ball through a number of hands, Burns involved, Keating involved, Horn involved, and instead of Cockayne trying to go for the line himself as he had done on a previous occasion, he let Gardner off the ball. Too big, too strong, brushed off the Hull FC desperate defence and goes over in the far right of this far right corner, nearest corner to us.
Hull KR picked the ball up 20 metres out because Hull gambled, and here's Josh Hodgson going to win it. He does win it. Derby Day delight for Hull Kingston Rovers. Hodgson celebrates in front of the black and whites. They're not happy, but he certainly is. Hull KR finally put 12-man Hull to bed. They lead 36-24.
Well, that was the final gamble of a Hull FC, a desperate Hull FC side off their own 10. They tried an audacious little chip and catch. They didn't catch the ball. Hull Kingston Rovers did. There was a little underhand back pass that went to ground, and it was Josh Hodgson that gathered the ball. There was no other thought in his mind at that moment in time. He'd got a tired Hull FC defence in front of him. He got 12 metres of field between him and a try, and he made that pay, and he's gone over, scored the try. I don't think the Hull FC fans would appreciate him celebrating in front of them, but certainly the Hull KR fans now enjoying pressure's off. They've won the game.
They've won the game, and they win it in the last 2 minutes. Another game that has gone right to the wire at the Magic Weekend. It was a football-style celebration from Josh Hodgson at the home of the Premier League champions.
Super League Live with Mark Wilson on Radio Yorkshire.
One side of Hull happy after a Magic Weekend. Hull Kingston Rovers just missing out on the playoffs. Well, I say just missing out by 4 points, finishing 9th behind the Widnes Vikings. We had Neil Hudgell on the show earlier in the season. We'll hear from him in a few moments' time as well. But one of the things he did say, a city the size of Hull shouldn't be battling over 9th position, should they? We've talked about Hull FC. Change at Hull KR earlier this season. Craig Sandercock departed, which in the media many people happy with because they can get more than a sentence out of Chris Chester. But I guess the pressure's on him now to perform at the KC Lightstream Stadium in 2015 the same as it is for Lee Radford.
Well, I'm looking forward to the media guide that we get at the start of every season that tells us the players that have left and the players that have come in. I think Hull KR get their own chapter. You look at who's gone this year, you know, I do worry about Hull KR moving forward just for the sheer number of changes that they've made. But let's go back to 2014. Brilliant at times, horrendous at others, quite often in the same game. They're a frustrating team, Hull KR, and based on last year, I actually think they underachieved. I think they should have made the 8. The likes of Travis Burns, Josh Hodgson, Neville Costigan, some great players. The worrying thing for them is they've all left now, and that's going to be interesting how they go about replacing them. They have spent a lot of money. Fair play to Neil Hudgell and his board. They do that every year. They back. This is the annoying thing. The whole chairman and the whole KR chair, they back their coach to the hilt. And they still can't get success. It's almost like the place is jinxed. But, a fantastic stadium now at Hull KR. Credit to them. They've got that sorted out. They finished 9th. They lost a couple of big games at the end of the season. They should have made the 8 for me. But even so, making the 8 in 8th place, next season, that's season over, isn't it, really? You're not going to be in the play. You're not going to be ultimately in the top 4 playoffs. I worry for Hull KR. Another season of blatant underachievement from them, and it's going to be interesting what Chris Chester can do to turn that around.
Well, the man who will be backing him is Neil Hudgell, who'll midway through the season celebrated 10 years in charge of Hull Kingston Rovers, and again he was a guest on Super League Review here on Radio Yorkshire.
Now, Super League Review with Mark Wilson on Radio Yorkshire.
10 years of lunacy, I suppose.
10 years. You said a while ago that if someone wanted to come in and take the club forward, you'd happily step aside, so to speak. Have you not had any offers, or have you had second thoughts that you just want to keep going?
That's one of my problems, is I keep changing my mind. I suppose if somebody did want to come in and take it on, then we're not precious about it, but we carry on as is for now. As I said, I've done 10 years. Some days I feel like doing another 10 years. Some days, usually on a Monday after a heavy defeat, you think there's better things to be doing with your time. But the beauty of our game, I suppose, is you can be down and out 1 minute and usually elated the next. As a chairman, I suppose that you need to try and strike a happy medium, not get too high, not get too low.
Is it difficult to do that though? Because I know we all go watch our teams in action, and it hurts when they get beat. I suppose when you've got a big financial investment in it, it hurts a little bit more, doesn't it?
No, not particularly. I mean, most people that are involved in the game, whether they're owners, fans, whatever, are there to support the team. So there's no money in rugby league generally, so it's not seen as a financial investment. It's more akin to what I'd describe as an expensive hobby. So whilst it hurts when you put cash in, I suppose it doesn't hurt to any lesser degree, because you just want to see your team do well. And another season, I think, of ups and downs for us, where we can't penetrate that sort of glass ceiling of the top 6.
You didn't get off to the best start, did you, at the start of the season? That obviously increased the pressure. There were a lot of speculation about your coach, and from outside the club, obviously. I mean, how easy is it, or how hard is it to just write off that criticism that comes into your club when it's coming in?
Hull's a goldfish bowl.
Everyone says that. We should clip that, because everyone that talks about Hull says that exact statement.
Yeah, you get a disproportionate amount of interest on anything, and one of the first things we say to players, coaches, when they come into the city is just be mindful. Whatever you do will be reported back, and whatever you do is likely to hit the front or back pages, depending on whether it's good or bad news. And some people take heed of that, and others don't. And unfortunately, we've seen that today with one player being released because of some of the off-field issues that got a very public airing very quickly. Our job is not to listen to all that. It's really just to cut through it and make the decisions that are best for the club, really. And after doing it for 10 years, I still get people's views on a daily basis, and it's up to us to sort of try and ride above a little bit sometimes of the sort of short-term reaction that you get from people, especially when they're feeling quite emotional. After things are going badly, you lose a few games, and it does start to it can create a momentum of its own, and as can winning a few games. So the danger there when you win a few games is not to hand out longer contract extensions than might be justified and warranted. So there's been speculation about the coach. I mean, I think we would hope to have the contract situation put to bed over the course of the next few days, I guess.
As we continue our look back on the 2014 season in Rugby League, we come to the team that finished 6th in Super League, but finally reached their destiny at Wembley Stadium in August, winning that Challenge Cup after failure after failure. The Leeds Rhinos, Brian McDermott, most successful coach ever, still gets slagged off on Twitter and the forums all the time. Phil Kaplan says one of their greatest ever sides, if not their greatest. Leeds Rhinos, do we give them enough credit? Do people give them enough credit for the success they've had in the past decade?
Well, I think we do. You know, I would have to say now that they've won the Challenge Cup, they are the best rugby league team that I've seen in the modern era. All right, I've seen Wigan when they beat everyone, but Wigan were, you know, like Manchester. It was like Man City playing in the conference. You know, it was a non-event.
People don't like saying it because you're not allowed to touch that Wigan side because they won everything and people have heard of them around the world and they won the Sports Personality Team of the Year, whatever. But this Leeds side in this era of salary capping, to do what they have done with a core of players from the Leeds Academy that have grown up through the past decade or so, it's a great achievement and doesn't get that wider recognition they probably deserve.
No, they're the best rugby league team I've seen. To keep turning up week in, year out, doing what they do, you've got to give them credit. Is it any surprise, you know, that their season, they might as well have finished at Wembley when they got off the bus with the trophy in their hands, because I think psychologically a lot of that team they'd gone, they'd achieved it, they'd finally got there, you know. When you look at, we speak after the game at Wembley to Jamie Peacock and he can't believe they've won, you know, like he said, destiny, this was their destiny. He said, did he feel relieved? No, he felt elated because finally they got what they'd been chasing for so long. You look at it and fans will criticise it because I think going at the end of July, I think they lost to Bradford and London, wasn't it, before Wembley. They were favourites to win the League Leaders' Shield. They were favourites to win the lot. You can't underestimate how much a sport is played in your head. And I think someone switched Leeds off when they won at Wembley. It's as simple as that. Any shame in that? No, there's not. They've won one of 3 titles you could win. They've won the title that they haven't won for 15 years. You know, they beat their local rivals, Castleford Tigers, at Wembley. I've never seen a Leeds team fall to the floor as they did that day at Wembley. I'll remember that. Jamie Jones with cannon fell to his knees. Sinfield couldn't believe it. The reaction of the players was fantastic. It's going to be interesting what happens to Leeds moving forward. We're looking back at 2014. Was it a successful year? You bet it was. You know, as we say every week on our show, we'd love to have a team that wins something every year so we could moan about it. I don't understand why people don't like McDermott. His tactics might not please anyone. Hey. Arsene Wenger's tactics don't. Pellegrini's tactics don't. The manager, if you're trying to please everyone all the time, you're doing something wrong.
Go back to Wembley. It wasn't a great game. It wasn't, you know, the greatest spectacle of the season. They played better games against each other during the season. The 24-all draw springs to mind immediately. But his tactics on that day at Wembley were spot on because Castleford never had the field position, never had the space with the ball to play as they had done throughout the rest of the season. Leeds shut them down and won that game magnificently from the first whistle to the final hooter.
Yeah, they did, and that's it. And that's what big game experience and big game tactics does for you. And I also remember when they won at Old Trafford and McDermott got a lot of stick and Sinfield came out and really publicly backed him up and said he's the best tactical coach I've ever worked for. The game plans are bang on. They were again at Wembley. I mean, what a year it's been for Kevin Sinfield, by the way. You know, he finally lifts the Challenge Cup. I know he's got a Challenge Cup medal before, but he finally gets to lift the trophy. He gets an MBE and he gets sent off.
We're going to hear that later because for me, that was the most exciting game of the season, that Leeds Castleford draw midway through the Super League season. And of course, he retired from International Rugby League.
He did. I
guess on a brief tangent, England in the Four Nations, just so small margins away from if they'd have beaten Australia. If.
They're getting closer, Rich.
They are.
We've got to support the international game, and that's what we will continue to do. Looking for, can't wait, for the next batch of internationals. Too long away, but they're coming. But back to Leeds, brilliant year. Really pleased for the guys. Such a nice bunch of fellas. Never have a problem when we speak to them. and it's nice. A very emotional Brian McDermott as well. You know, he's quite often brutally honest with us when he speaks to us, but pleased for him as well.
So, on a scale of 2 to 9, Leeds this season?
8.5.
And here is the crowning moment, the moment where Kevin Sinfield lifted the Challenge Cup, which I'm sure you heard live here on Radio Yorkshire.
Here come Leeds coming up now to receive a trophy that has eluded them for 15 years. Finally they are going to get their hands on the cup, and Kevin Sinfield, who had a winner's medal he said he didn't really earn, will have one now that he will cherish forever. He's shaking hands, hugging the dignitaries, smiles all round from the Leeds faithful, and the ball, or the cup, is going to be lifted by that man, Kevin Sinfield. I said he had around him on Monday when we spoke to him a team of winners, and they win again. And here it is, Kevin Sinfield lifts the trophy, and the Tetley's Challenge Cup, it's going on to West Yorkshire. It's coloured blue and amber. Leeds Rhinos win the 2014 Challenge Cup. Sinfield, Maguire, Hall, Ablett, Burrow, Peacock, Delaney, all there, all a part of it. They'll all want to get their hands on something they have worked so hard to get.
Yeah, Danny Maguire, you beauty. Kevin Sinfield, at last. They're the comments that these senior players are making, because they've suffered a little bit of heartbreak over the years. As you've said, it's 15 years of hurt, and in that 15 years of hurt, they've got to some finals. It's not like that they haven't been there, they've just not managed to do what they've done today, and that is win this trophy.
Zach Hardacre lifts it off. Kylie Luluai, an unsung hero that turns up week in, week out for the Rhinos. Paul Layton gets his hands on it as well.
Now he knows what the Challenge Cup's about.
Now he does, yeah. He dummied it. He was going to throw it over the fence. Gives it instead to Brett Delaney, who holds it aloft. Here's Ryan Bailey now, who holds it. And credit to them. Tom Briscoe, a loser here last year. He knows what it feels to walk up the steps first. Now he knows what it feels like to walk up and win it. Joel Moon, who I thought was brilliant this afternoon for Leeds. Liam Sutcliffe, Ian Kirk, and Callum Watkins. Fantastic effort. And I think last but not least is Jamie Jones Buchanan. A big smile to go with that big beard he's got. He kisses the trophy and lifts it aloft. And now, listen to the roar for Brian McDermott. He points to the fans and he shows them the cup he's just won. Brian McDermott.
I can feel the hairs on the back of my neck bristling. That's a very proud moment for Brian McDermott. And straight away he pointed at the Leeds fans and dedicated it to them.
Super League Review with Mark Wilson on Radio Yorkshire.
Last season they won the League Leaders' Shield. This season, third place, one off the pace for the Huddersfield Giants. Disappointing playoff campaign. Good or bad season for Paul Anderson's men, Mark?
Cold light of day, disappointing, got to be honest. I lose track. I mean, we go see Paul every week, so we've been to see him 27 weeks plus the cup game. And I'd probably say 20 of those, he said Huddersfield didn't play the best and got through on on effort, rather than skill. It will be a disappointing season. One off the League Leaders' Shield. That'd have been nice if they could have retained that. But ultimately, you had the heartbreak of the controversial Challenge Cup defeat. That drop goal, did it or didn't it go over? But in the playoffs, they weren't at the races. And what happened at Wigan was, well, let's not talk about that anymore. But disappointing season for the Giants. I think you've got to be honest. I think expectations are set higher now than a narrow failure, if you like.
I think a decade ago, where Huddersfield were languishing at the bottom end of the Super League. Obviously, they've got an owner there who's willing to back the club. Third place in the season 10 years ago would have been a success. But obviously, the way things are going, a disappointing year for Huddersfield. But signs in 2015... potentially of improvement.
They've got world-class players. Danny Brough, Brett Ferris, Joe Wardle. Added in Craig Hubie into that mix as well. They've got some fantastic players at Huddersfield, and they've got players that on the day, if they play to their potential, can beat anyone in the competition. We know that. We've seen that. You look at the opening day of the season, the week before everyone else played, they went to Wigan and absolutely battered them. But we didn't see that performance too many more times throughout the season, and I think that's what will haunt Paul Anderson at the end of the season, is the fact that he knows it's in there, but it ain't coming out on a regular basis. So hopefully this year will be the year of the Giant. They're going to be there or thereabouts. There's nothing surer than that. The question is this going to be the year they finally get their hands on silverware? And I don't mean the League Leaders' Shield, I mean the Super League Trophy or the Challenge Cup.
Well, enough of us talking about 2014 for the Huddersfield Giants. Let's hear from their coach, Paul Anderson, speaking to Mark earlier in the month.
Paul, it's been a while since we spoke. We sat inside your new, very plush training facility. Tell us a little bit about it.
The club, I think one of the areas that we've drastically needed improvement off the field is in regards to our facilities. We've got a very good relationship in regards to field and artificial surface stuff at the sports complex down on Leeds Road. But this is definitely something that we needed to do in regards to bringing all areas of our football department together. So you've got your gym, you've got a contact area, you've got your physio, and obviously players' changing rooms, players' rec area, kitchen, and staff offices all within the one building, with all in the one footprint, which, from a selfish point of view, makes our time management a hell of a lot better, and it allows us as staff and players to see each other more. Whereas previously the staff were based at the stadium, the players were based at the gym, and it was all you had to get in a car to go see everybody. And it's no excuse and things like that, but it should help the culture of the club a lot more and help us be more effective and more efficient, if I'm being honest.
I mean, from me looking here, it looks quite a smart facility. I'm picking there's a big financial investment here from the club as well.
Yeah. There's obviously the costs have increased, which is what it is, isn't it? Unfortunately, but the club they've been very, very good, very, very, very supportive. We've not just gone, here's your building, get on with it. We've got a hell of a lot more equipment as well. So to be fair to the club, they've done it properly. And then the textile centre as well, with their involvement, obviously it's their building. They've been very, very cooperative and made some changes in here to suit us as well.
I mean, as professional athletes, you spend most of your time training, don't you? So how important is this, do you feel, to the Giants?
Yeah, it's been quoted to me, could this be your best signing of the year? And that's not being disrespectful to the signings we've made, but I think the club's been crying out for something of this ilk for a while, and this puts us on the par now with most other clubs out there. If there was a field outside, which that's the only deficit, that our field's not straight outside, then you would turn around and say that it's up there with one of the best in the competition. But like I said, we ain't complaining from where we were to where we are. We're very, very happy in what we've got and what we've achieved here.
Another step forward for the club as well, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. And you look at this place now, and it's actually a selling point, and it could be a recruitment tool for all the blokes out there that are coming off contract and this, that, and the other. And you want to talk to somebody, you bring them to this environment, you show them, you stand them here, look on this mezzanine level, show down onto the gym and everything that you've got and the things we want to achieve, and it's a good tool to be able to bring people and show now.
It is. We can hear the rain or the hailstone rattling on the roof. What's pre-season been like so far?
Cold and wet, as they all are. It's been challenging as well. We've definitely challenged the boys physically. We need to get some hard work into people, or into everybody, and change the mentality of the place a little bit. We were too much on our abilities last year, winning games, and when effort was required, we probably weren't up to where we needed to be. And you'll vouch firsthand the amount of press conferences we've done, and we've said that's been won on our abilities, not on our effort. Now, I'm not questioning our abilities as rugby league people, and as players, their rugby league abilities are very, very high. Now, if we can get our effort to match that, if not surpass it, I think we'll be able to beat. I'm confident of that.
You've not made masses of signings, you've just added quality in. Is that what it's about now? Just making sure the people you bring in are better than the people that you have?
You always look every year to improve, don't you? And that's one with facilities, with new signings, new players and staff. There's been a change in medical staff as well, so we're always looking to improve in what we're doing or to freshen things as well. And that's what's happened this year. I think with 4 signings in there, 2 pretty major ones, obviously, in Craig Hewby and Jamie Ellis, Oliver Roberts, and Jack Hughes. Obviously, Jack Hughes into that one as well, who's going to be pretty vital to us. So it's they're all going to contribute and hopefully take us to that next level. And what the people who we've brought in are physically very, very good, and between their ears in regards to mental toughness are very, very good as well, which can only help the rest of the group.
Let's just have a chat about the lads that have come in. Craig Hewby's
had an outstanding time at Castleford. What made you want to sign Craig Hughes?
He's got the bag of tricks, hasn't he? That's the thing for him, and he'd been there for a long time. I think he'd been there for 12 years, and when I knew he was off contract, I'd been monitoring him for a while, and when's Chubb's off contract, and when we found out he was, then we made a play for him and challenged him, if I'm being honest. And if you want to continue as you have been, and obviously Castleford's done with Darryl and the environment he's trying to create there, he's been started going in the right direction, and so you want to challenge yourself in a different environment and maybe see what you are actually capable of, and just take yourself out of your comfort zone, and we're willing to give you that opportunity, and thankfully he took it. Obviously took a fair bit of convincing, because he's a Cass lad, and he was doing what he always wanted to do, and that was play for Cass, and he accepted that challenge, and obviously he's here now, and hopefully we can kick him to that next level.
It'll be a big thing for him as well, won't it? Because like I said, he's coming out of his comfort zone, coming massively here, new place.
Yeah, massively, that's the thing, and that's what we spoke about, and we talked about him challenging himself, and the easy decision was to stay where he was, and the tough decision was to leave, and he made a tough decision. He's left, and hopefully we can see the benefits of that.
And he not brought with him, but Jamie Ellis has made the same move as well.
Yeah, he came in the bag with him. Yeah.
What do you feel he had?
Buy one get one free. Nah. Jamie's already shown. I think I'm pretty confident that one or two eyebrows raised when we signed him. Obviously, he was in and out of the Castleford team at the time, but one of the areas that we've struggled massively, if we've any sort of injuries in the halves and hookers and things like that, then we've tended to struggle, and that's where we've strengthened massively this year. Obviously, we've not lost anybody in that position. We lost Jackie Miller, who was a under-19s and a squad player here, who it didn't really feature. But what we've done is, if you look at it, replaced him with a seasoned player, and it's just helping us more in regards to our strength in depth. You look at the halves and hookers that we have available at the moment. Is obviously Danny Brough, Luke Robinson, Sean Lunt, I forgot somebody. Kyle Wood. I forgot somebody there, and I thought there were another one as well. Cruz Lehman as well at 9. That's it. We've got a lot of strength in depth and a lot of competition for places to keep people on the toes. And at any time, if we lose one of those, we know we've got some quality underneath to push through it, or if quality available to make us. We don't have to take a massive change and change everything we do because of a loss of one player. So if you look at 2013, we were very, very fortunate that we got through the season with one recognised half in Danny Brough. We got through the year with one recognised 9 in Sean Lunt, and we had Luke Robinson, David Fayuma, who were playing in accustomed positions. So it was we got through that, and we're pretty fortunate to do it. Last year we had injuries in that position, which highlighted that we needed to strengthen. Just the year before, we couldn't bring anybody in because there was nobody to bring in.
Yeah. You've re-signed Luke Robinson as well, and your deal for him.
Yeah, Robbo's key for the culture of us, what we do, and the hard work type things here. And he loves saying "here" before he speaks. So it's a tough little thing, isn't he? And the thing for him is he'll play more 9 this year. So him and Sean Lunt and Cruz Lehman rolling around in 9, and then the 3 halves you've got obviously Bruffy, Kyle Wood, who should be there or thereabouts maybe for round 1, and obviously Jamie Ellis off the back of that. So it's a lot more competition for place, a lot more strength in that area for us.
You said about a signing raising eyebrows. Jack Hughes coming in for many outside. Wow, you've got him, and Lam Patrick gone the other way. What was the thinking behind that one?
We needed it. Obviously, we lost Jason Chan, who was an 80-minute back rower. That is what it is, and we needed an edge back rower. Obviously, we'd got Brett Ferris. We still had a Kumatai, but we needed one more. We needed a genuine 80-minute edge back rower, and that's what I wanted. I liked Jack. I inquired about Jack 12 months ago. Said no at the time, and persistence paid off. And every time previously I asked about Jack, Sean and Wayne asked about Larn, and it was no, and finally got to a point where I just felt like that we had to do something to try and freshen our squad up. And obviously Jack coming here gives him an opportunity to play. Obviously Larn going to Wigan gives him an opportunity to be in a good environment again.
He's found regular game time a little bit hard to come by, hasn't he, Jack? But he's got an awful lot of potential, hasn't he?
I'm talking to Wayne, and he was very, very reluctant to let him go, as I was Larn, and it was. But he knew that his opportunities would be limited, and I think Jack had already asked about potentially going out on loan, and he. To be fair, when I asked about him, I knew Wayne was very, very strong in the back row, and I just wanted to sign him full time because I know what he can bring to us. He's young, energetic, he's got some mongrel in him, and he's just desperate to play and prove himself, and that's what I want. I want people that they're here and are desperate to win things and achieve things.
Looking at it now, is that it? Squad done now?
Yeah, we're 29 in regards to our squad. Supplemented this year with a couple of the young fellas coming up from our 19s in Liam Johnson, who's still only 18-year-old, Tyler Dickinson's 18-year-old, and Mickey Lehman, who's turning into 20. So we're going all right, and people like Josh Johnson, Nath Mason, Jake Connor, they're all another year on. So Mullally as well, they're all another year on. So they're all going to be pushing in and around there.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going out now and getting wet. But that's nature of the beast. That's pre-season, and we've got another week, 10 days to go training. So we'll till we break for Christmas. Some boys will be very unfortunate in being over Christmas. So, but then when we hit back on the 3rd, it'll be a real team effort. Then going forward, managed to get a lot of stuff done in regards to what we want to achieve, and it's about the team after that. So we've got a couple of weeks before we play. So when we start getting ready for round 1, because the importance this year is you have to hit the ground running. Every game's important. You can't afford to lose 2 or 3 games that you think you should have won this year, because you've got to win them all, because if not, if you want to win the competition when it comes to the Super 8s, as it's called, then you need to be in that top 4 somewhere along the line.
Well, I guess if we look back on 2014 in Rugby League, if the season belonged to anyone, it was the Castleford Tigers, Mark. They finished 4th in the table in the end. The final weekend of the season, they could have won the League Leaders' Shield. They could have won, of course, the Challenge Cup at Wembley. It's almost bizarre to think, because at the start of the season, most people wouldn't have thought Castleford would be anywhere near challenging for the honours, let alone the top 2. But a great season, but ultimately in the end, I guess, a disappointing one, but that must spur them on to greater things in 2015.
Well, look, let's talk about a team that at the end of 2013, we were probably about 8 games left in 2013, were in utter disarray, complete and utter disarray. There was widespread talk of all the players wanted to leave the club. There was no heart and soul was being dragged out of it. Now, Steve Gill, in fairness to him, has dragged that back into the club. He got Darryl Powell in from Featherstone. A lot of people, will it work, won't it work? Well, it has worked. It's been an unprecedented success. And yeah, you can say they nearly won that. They were favourites, or amongst the favourites, to get relegated, Rich. You know, they finished 4th, a win off. They went into the last game of the season. They win the League Leaders' Shield. They had to go to Catalan, probably the toughest game you could have asked for, in all fairness. They just couldn't do it. They got beaten at Wembley. Maybe the occasion and the heartbreak that Leeds had was just drove them on stronger than maybe Castleford on this occasion. But what a year it has been for Castleford. Let's not take anything away from that. You know, you look at the players they signed, and again, people, what have they bought him for? Why have they got him? That won't work. It did work. Darryl Powell made it work. People buying into Castleford Tigers. He's put the pride back in pulling on a Cass shirt. The big thing is, can they follow it up 2015? He's brought a lot of new players in. He's lost some big names. We talk about Huey, we got a Huddersfield. Well, a Haraki moving on as well. But he likes what he's got in, Darryl. He said they're settling in well. They're going to be a force to be reckoned with. Expectation will be the biggest thing that Cass have to deal with in 2015. But 2014, Rich, utter success. Take away the last 3 games in the playoffs. Utter success.
Coach of the year, Darryl Powell, will hear from me in a moment. The other Darryl, the one I inadvertently mentioned there, Darryl Clark, the man of steel, and did okay for England as well during the 4 Nations. He, of course, moves on to Warrington. But it's been a great season for Castleford. Let's hope that continues into 2015, because it's good to see teams who aren't the establishment teams do well, perform well, and get to major finals. You know, obviously, you know, you think of the grand final, you want to see Saints Wigan or Leeds versus Wigan or whatever. But when you get to these finals, you see Castleford in there, or I don't want to say Hull because they're obviously a big club, but when Hull got to the Challenge Cup final last season, it's good to have a mix-up.
Brings a freshness to it all, doesn't it? A big day out for Cass fans. I mean, they were a credit to themselves at Wembley. You know, and they've supported their club through thin and a bit thinner as well, so maybe they deserve a day out in the limelight as well. But they've had a taste for it now. They'll want more as well, and that pushes expectation up. But we talked earlier about Wakefield and Bradford and what you get when you run your club properly. Castleford, they've run their club properly. They've had stick for years, don't spend salary cap, shouldn't be in. If you ain't got the money, get out. but I don't remember him being in court for not paying any bills or, being wound up by the whoever. That hasn't happened, and Jack Fulton deserves a lot of credit for that. He is the benefactor that's kept them going.
Because there are, we look at other clubs and their benefactors are mentioned week in, week out, but nothing's mentioned really of Jack Fulton. And he, Steve Gill, Darryl Powell, everyone at Castleford Tigers has done a fantastic job in 2014 and well deserved of all the honours they've received.
Yeah, exactly right. And long may that success continue for the Tigers. It's a big year this year. I think they won't want a question of after the Lord Mayor's show, but people are going to want to beat them now. They've gone from being underdog to scalp, and that's going to be the big thing for them.
We've mentioned him on Super League Review week in, week out as a potential future England coach. It can't be understated the turnaround in fortunes for Castleford since Darryl Powell took over. And again, on his nomination for Radio Yorkshire Sports Personality of the Year, he spoke to Mark.
Yeah, certainly a year of progress for us all as a club, as a team, and obviously as a coaching staff. We all worked exceptionally hard throughout the last year, and we progressed massively. Obviously, there's still a lot of work to do in terms of maintaining consistency of development and everybody looking to go to another level. But we certainly did a great job in putting Cass back on the map. It's just about making sure we stay at the top now. That's really important for us.
You came to Castleford when they were down on the luck a little bit, weren't they? They were struggling badly in the Super League. What have you done that's turned them around so quickly?
Well, we've got a lot of good people at the club. I think the coaching staff gave me a massive amount of support. The people behind the scenes really gave us support. From my perspective, I think it was about getting a buy-in from the players to what the club's about and what it stands for, and it's got a fantastic history. And I think that's the foundation. That's what you grab onto, is what the club stands for. And I've used a number of past players to help us find out what it means to play for Castleford as a team. I think we've reconnected the team with the fans. The fans have been superb, and then get a way of playing that people are proud of. I think we've worked really hard on that. The term Classic Cass has been used many times. Barry Johnson throughout the year said the team that he played in was the second coming of Classic Cass, and we were the third. And for many of the things that were said about us last year, that was the best one for me.
Yeah, it was a fantastic season. Obviously, you've had time to look back on it. You got to Wembley. You had a good bash at the playoffs as well. Great finishing position in Super League. What was the most pleasing point? If I could ask you for one moment for you, what would it be? The outstanding moment of 2014?
I think probably when we beat Wigan at home, and obviously we beat them away in the Challenge Cup as well, which was a superb performance all round. But I think we dominated Wigan. I thought, been the best team when we played them at home, and we found ourselves behind. They clawed their way back into it, and Matty Smith got a drop goal to put them in front. Last play of the game, we found a way to win it. Luke Down scored a pretty special try on the back of a short kick-off. And that really said everything that needed to be said about the team and its unity and its fight and energy and will to win. So in one moment, I think that sort of encapsulated what Castleford Tigers were going to be about for the whole season.
In terms of the progression of the club under yourself, was it important that you did make a big final? Obviously, go to Wembley, you didn't get the result you wanted, but you've almost given the team now a taste of what they can have. And obviously the next step now is to go and get more of that.
Yeah, well, the key is belief. I think when you go into a season with a new squad, similar to what we have this year, we've got quite a few new recruits. Then it was really important that we started to believe that we could achieve something. Obviously, we didn't win anything last year, and that was a big disappointment to us all. But we believed that we could, and even though we fell a little bit short, that taste of it, as you've mentioned, of playing in really big games, of the build up to those, being in the middle of it, and savouring what it means to play in those big games against big opposition that can really hurt you if you aren't on your game. So that gives us all a taste of it, and we want to be back there playing in those games that are special, the special times in your life, and the more you can get them, then the better off you are. Obviously, we've got a lot of hard work to do this year, but I think we've got a belief within the squad that we can challenge anybody we play against.
Did the turnaround surprise you in how quickly that it did come? Because, as I said, they weren't in a good place, the Tigers, when you took over.
Oh yeah, I suppose a little bit. We advanced ourselves pretty quickly. Big challenge for us this year to maintain that. And I keep talking about this year because it's important that we recognise that. What happened last year can't do anything for us this. But yeah, it turned around pretty quick. It started to turn around in that, the half a season that I had at the club initially. Danny Orr had done some great work on the lead-in to me coming to the club. And then it was all about the culture and the attitude and ownership and really instilling some leadership within the group. And I think the leaders have been magnificent. Now, there's not just one voice in terms of myself or the coaching staff talking to the players about doing the right thing. It's a self-managed group. They work hard to drive each other, and they don't accept poor, sloppy standards, and that's massive. Once you get that, then you've got a group that's pretty easy to maintain.
I don't imagine there were too many times you were angry with your side last season. Are you a shouter, or are you a calm, quiet talker?
I tend to be generally pretty calm. When you've got a group that's a good group, that they're good people and they want to do things in the right way and they work hard, very, very rarely I see a need to be jumping up and down. There's a couple of times where I thought we let ourselves down, and you've got to be pretty pointed at times, but it's not that often. I don't see any need for it. We've got some good leaders in there, and the whole team wants to do things in the right way, and they really want to win for the club and the team and for the teammates. So it's about a collective thing, and they get angry with each other at times because the standards slip a little bit. So no, not really. I believe in generally being calm, because that's what we're asking the players to be on the field.
And just finally from us, if you did win our award, it wouldn't be the first big one that you've won personally. Coach of the Year, that must have given you fantastic satisfaction, knowing that you're regarded as the Coach of the Year 2014.
Yeah, well, I've been on a pretty interesting journey as a coach. I started at lofty heights at Leeds in terms of got the job when I was really young as a coach. Didn't have an awful lot of experience. And since then, I've had some good experiences in Rugby Union a little bit, obviously at Featherstone. That was a fantastic experience for me, and I love that club. And then at Castleford. So it's been a journey, and you get better and you learn with every little experience that you have. So for me last year to come back into Super League and within just over a year be voted by my peers as the coach of that season with the biggest impact, then obviously that was pretty special for me. And I'm just the same as the players. I don't want to get too carried away with anything, because sport can kick you up the backside pretty quickly and dump you on your head. So it's important we all keep our feet on the ground, and I'll be doing that, and I know the players will be looking towards the challenges we face this year.
This is Super League Review on Radio Yorkshire.
2014 has been a great year for many people involved in rugby league in Yorkshire, but upon a personal level, there can't be many who've had the year Kevin Sinfield has had. Awarded an MBE by Her Majesty the Queen, finally lifting the Challenge Cup as captain of the Leeds Rhinos and announcing his retirement from International Rugby League. Quite a 12 months for Kevin Sinfield, and on top of that, a nomination for Radio Yorkshire Sports Personality of the Year. And that's when Mark Wilson spoke to him ahead of the new season and pre-season plans for the Leeds Rhinos.
The team have made great strides again, and unfortunately the finish we had in the playoffs wasn't what we all wanted, but to finally get our hands on the Challenge Cup was great. And I think a big plus for me, a big positive, was the amount of young players we brought through who've now got a lot of experience under the belt and will be much better for it next year. So although 2014 in a lot of ways was, when you look at the season, was a little bit bittersweet for us. I think to get our hands on some silverware is really important, and as we all know how difficult it can be. So the majority of the group have been together for a long while now, and they're very motivated to carry on and win trophies.
Obviously, any award that you can win would seem to pale into insignificance to the MBE that you got and you received recently from Prince William. Tell us about that. When did you find out, and what was it like to go to Buckingham Palace and get it?
Yeah, it's just massively humbling. I think I play a team sport, and for me, the team trophies are the ones that are important. The individual ones are really nice, but again, I think it's recognition for the team and the players I've played with for a number of years, and the staff, everybody up at Headingley, and obviously our fans. So I accepted the award on behalf of everybody, and I think that's the right way to do it. Like I said, I'm involved in a team sport, and without everybody doing their little bit and doing their jobs, I certainly can't do mine. So it was really nice to go down. So I found out, I think it was back in about May time, before it was announced in the middle of the summer. But we waited a while for the letter to come through, and we knew it was going to be in November, so just a really good experience to go down to the Palace and drive through them front gates. Was quite nice, and it was a special day for my mum and dad and my wife, so really enjoyable. Like I said, a really good experience.
Amazing for you to go and do that. Let's look at the on the field stuff. You mentioned the Challenge Cup win. I know you've got a medal from before, but this time you've led from the front, if you like, and played a key role in winning the Challenge Cup. It's been a long time coming for this club, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has, yeah, and a lot was made of it as well in the press and sort of throughout the media. And in effect, they created, they tried to create a monkey on our backs, and it's nice now to shake that off. I think for us as players, we were just focused in on playing well and trying to win the game for the right reasons, not to try and get rid of this monkey that people were talking about. And it was a really special day. Having lost in 5 previous finals, and tasted the disappointment that comes with losing big games and big finals. It was huge for us to finally get over the line, and for all those people who'd spent all that money over the years to come and support us, to finally give them something to smile about in respect to the Challenge Cup was very, very special. And I think for all of us, for all our families and for the club, it is a special trophy. To finally have it back at Headingley is very special.
The outpouring of emotion on the pitch, I've never seen that from a Leeds Rhinos team. The lads that have been there and lost all those finals, did it feel like that at the time? Have you had a chance to look back and reflect on what actually happened that day?
A little bit. The thing is, you move on pretty quickly, and you move on to the next challenge. And for us, we were straight into the tough end of a league campaign. So that evening was pretty special. To my wife, my kids, and your mum and dad, and share it with everybody who played a significant role in the club and where it is today, all together in one room was a very good night. So I think I'll certainly look back on it with fond memories when I finish. It's nice to finally get our hands on the trophy. Like you said, I had a cup winners medal from '99, and I think it'd be really disrespectful of me to write the value of that medal off. I know how it feels to play in games and playing big games, but I also know the part that the players who don't play, what it takes for them to do, and I was one of those in '99, and that this medal in 2014 probably means more to me than it did in '99, but I certainly wouldn't devalue it for the rest of the group who've, some of those boys who will have played in quarters or semis for us and missed out on a final, but played such a huge part in finally getting our hands on that trophy. So it was great to get a medal. It was great to walk up them steps. It's a long way. We've been up the ones at Old Trafford, and there's probably only about 20 steps, but going up the ones at Wembley, it's probably about 300. So it's a big difference, and thankfully we got the trophy.
you've also made the big decision this year to announce your international retirement. You've missed out on the Four Nations. Looking back at your decision, are you happy you made the right one? Did you miss it when you were watching it on the TV?
Yeah, I missed it. Missed every minute of it. I love playing, so to make that decision not to play was horrible and something I agonised over. But I just felt it was the right thing. I thought it was the right thing for England. I felt for us to keep going forward and making strides and be a real threat in the next World Cup. We needed to let some young lads have a go against Australia and New Zealand, and we needed to get some combinations put in place for 2017. And you know, I'm almost certain I won't be around then. So it was important. I felt that that happened, but also from a selfish point of view, going into the start of 2014, I just didn't have enough preparation time, and that, whether that be rest or training time, you're just playing catch up in January. And I'm 34 now, and I'd like to play a couple more seasons, and I just felt by making that decision I could get the best out of the next 2 years rather than scrambling again, playing catch up in January and not playing as well as I'd like. So in this respect, it's meant in effect I've got 4 months pre-season, and I can't ever remember having that ever. So I've had some surgery as well in the off season, and it's meant that I feel great. I'm really looking forward to what's to come, and mentally as much as anything, I'm really ready for 2015. But it was a horrible decision to make. I missed it, but hopefully in choosing to retire from international, it will actually prolong my full playing career.
Looking ahead then, not wanting to pension you off too early, you said you feel you've got another couple of years left in you. What does the future hold for Kevin Sinfield longer term than that?
Well, I went back studying, and I'm in the final year of my Masters now in sport business, and that's been tough. More so juggling things, but hopefully I'll use that in some capacity. Hopefully in rugby league, hopefully at the Rhino still. I love the place, so but we'll see. For me, I want to focus on this next couple of years playing wise and get the most I can out of it. That was the reason I retired internationally. I want to give it my absolute all and give it the best shot I've got. So and try and really enjoy it as well, because unfortunately I can't play forever. So whatever time I've got left, however many games that is, try and squeeze the most out of it. And then when the time comes, I'd like to think I've done as much as I can to put things in place. Like I said, it's my second degree now, and I'd like to think through some of the experiences I picked up from playing, and along with the academic side that I've been studying. Hopefully it will open some opportunities.
This is Super League Review on Radio Yorkshire.
So that was 2014. Already the RFL have announced new rules for 2015. One of them sorting out the obstruction rule, which was a feature of our coverage here on Radio Yorkshire in 2014. But as a whole, hopes for 2015, Mark?
A better quality season. Hope the new era works. Every minute matters and all that, or every minute counts. Hope it works. Hope no one in the Championship spends money that they ain't got chasing the dream of the golden egg. That is one hope I do have. I'm looking, hopefully, for some Yorkshire success as well. Gut feeling is Warrington are going to have a good year. They've added Clark in. That might just be the X factor that they were missing at times, especially in the bigger games. So it's going to be interesting. But hopefully some West Yorkshire success. And more building. Castleford have built. Huddersfield continue to build. Leeds are going to be the interesting one, aren't they? Is it going to be the end of an era? Now, maybe this is the biggest test that Brian McDermott faces now. They've had to lose a couple of their, let's say, fringe players in Kirk and Bailey, but surprisingly they've let them go. Going to be interesting what happens at Leeds.
Very much a bit like Manchester United. We compare them to before on Super League Review and their transition between the stars of the present and the future for them. Let's hope it's an exciting season, as you say, on and off the field, and especially for our clubs in Yorkshire. More success for Castleford and Leeds, and Huddersfield continuing their growth. And hopefully we see a top 8 full of Yorkshire sides. And if we don't, we see an exciting middle 8. What we do have this season, we're stepping into the unknown. We don't know what's going to happen. It could be very, very exciting. Could be, yeah, could be. Looking forward to it. You know, that middle 8's going to be the interesting one, isn't it? And the £1 million game. One Championship club's going to get a shot at it. Will it be Bradford, London, Lee, Sheffield, Doncaster? They're all in there fighting. Dewsbury. We've got plenty of chances in the Championship. I've been at a £1 million game. I don't know where that £1 million went though. 2015, you'll hear the best of rugby league here on Radio Yorkshire. An exciting season, we hope, and success for your club throughout. Join us throughout the season. Check out the website, radioyorkshire.co.uk. We'll leave you now with perhaps the most exciting game of 2014. It's the Leeds Rhinos and the Castleford Tigers. Your commentary team, Mark Wilson and Andy Kelly.
Now, Super League Live with Mark Wilson on Radio Yorkshire.
Good Leeds defence. Have Cass got the numbers on their left-hand side? That's the way they're going. Sneed's going to kick for the corner. Carney's up for it. Ball knocked back. And it's touched down by Shenton. Cass think they've scored. Ben Thaler says the video referee will decide the outcome of this one. Who touched it in the air? Carney certainly jumped for it. But if he touched it, did he go backwards anyway?
Well, my gut feeling is if Carney's got to it, that's exactly what happens. He bats it back down. Shenton picks it up and Shenton scores the try. I can't see any other reason.
They're all onside.
Unless Carney touches it and then it hits a Leeds player. That is the only reason, because the trajectory of the ball eventually is backwards. So does Carney touch it, and in touching it, does it hit a Leeds player that forces it back towards Shenton?
Well, they're happy with the onside. The ball, I think he's going to say it's gone backwards. Certainly gone behind Carney. Like you said, I think they're just trying to see, is there a ricochet? Has it come and then hit Briscoe and gone forward via Carney? Let's see, is this going to be the big score? The first one of the night. Michael Shenton. Try given. Castleford lead, and those 2,000-3,000 Cass fans away to our right are celebrating. He won't score many easier, Michael Shenton, but his first blood, the Tigers, they lead 4-0. And it's the last one, 15 out on this near side. Ayton puts it back for Maguire. Maguire kicking for the corner. Tester for Carney. Scored at one end. Can he come up with a good? No, he can't. Briscoe jumps him and gets the ball and scores. Leeds on the board. 8 minutes gone here, Headingley. It's Leeds 4, Castleford 6.
Well, that's an absolutely fantastic kick. It goes from the left-hand side of the field, just by the post, and it goes into the right corner. Briscoe is the recipient of it with a great catch, a great gather, and a really positive touchdown for Leeds. But this goes back to inviting Leeds into your half. We've seen them turn the ball over twice in their own half and managed to escape. And then I thought that was a really poor kick straight at Hardacre. The return was already near to the halfway line, and that puts Leeds on the front foot. You can't do that.
That's the last one, says Ben Thaler, messing about the play of the ball from Milner, but he gets away with it. They're going to kick high towards Hall, who might just get on the end of this. Hall knocks it back for Moon. Moon for Hall. Hall tackled, dumps the ball out of the back, picked up, and Bailey's going to score. Second touch and Bailey scores. Great try from Leeds. That was fantastic. Ryan Hall and Joel Moon on this near side. They were 6-0 down, but Leeds hit the front. They lead 10-6.
Well, you just sometimes talk about sort of individual skill, and you talk about skill that you can't coach in terms of things that happen in a game and how players perceive it. The kick was good, and it came down this left-hand side as Leeds were attacking. Ryan Hall showed some good athletic ability and caught the ball. Having caught the ball, then he let the ball go and he pushed it behind him. Moon then did the same and kept it alive. Hall had wrapped back behind him. Bailey, who picked the ball up, this is only his second touch since coming on as a sub, and he scores the try.
Here's Sneed, gets an awful pass off Holmes to side, but they might be in here. Dixon out wide. He touched like wasn't the best pass, so he had to cut in, and then he drives up a line, gets it away for Haraki. Try Castleford. They do score. Dixon, the villain at one end, is the hero at the other. Great pass and scored by Haraki. Casa back in it, 12-10.
Yeah, Dixon, by the way, he punched the air and punched the palm of his opposite hand. He knew he had to pay something back to Castleford for the error at the other end of the field, and that he just did. He worked ever so hard there, coming back in field, and managed to get the offload to Haraki. And Haraki coming over the top of the Leeds defenders was never going to be stopped.
Ball back to the middle for Sinfield. Here's Ward, gets it out now. Big miss out pass for Ablett. They've got numbers on this side. Ablett trying to isolate defenders. Runs, goes for the line. He hasn't got it down. Now, has he lost it in trying to put it down? We're going upstairs to the video referee. Ablett again, there's no celebration as he gets up. I think here he could have lost the ball.
Well, he doesn't look that convinced, does he, Mark, at this stage? But I think he's just actually said yes, but whether or not they might have said to him, did you knock on? You know, we don't know what the question was. But again, nice approach play by Leeds. They had a look down the right hand side, they came across to the left, loop ball to Ablett. Wow, and he's got great feet here. He takes on the Castleford defender, which is Finn, uses his feet, steps across Haraki, and now he's got a bit of a run to the line with Dawn in front of him. He's got the ball in position to put it down, and he's reaching towards the line.
Let's have a look what the video referee says. Try. Carl Ablett in. Finn down a blind alley, tackled 5 metres away. Again, Cass have got numbers on the edge, but they're going to go with Massey. Massey's in! He just picks it up and dives in! Nathan Massey scores! And Castleford in 2 minutes will be level here. Great try in its simplicity. It's Leeds 18, Castleford 16.
Well, you can be as elaborate as you want sometimes, and you can put all the lead and back runner players on, and you can move the ball from one side of the field to the other. But do you know what? It's not as effective as Route 1, is it? And Route 1 there was pick the ball up from behind the play the ball, Massey, sense a bit of space and just walk over the try line.
Leeds have it, last one. They're going to try and run it out wide here, and they are going to run it on the last tackle. Are they going to get in? The kick chase ahead. Ablett hacks it forward again. Ablett's going to score. He does score. The bounce of the ball denies Millington at one end. It favours Ablett at the other, and he exchanges words with the Castleford fans. Oh, there might be some more action about that. Ablett could be in trouble for that one, but he's got the try. But the video ref will just give it the once over.
That's an audacious piece of play by Leeds. They go for the power play. They move the ball out to the left hand side. Ball's in the hands of Moon, and there's nothing on for him. He's got Webster and Haraki in front of him, so he rolls off the end of his foot. A nice little kick. Ablett's the next to kick the ball on, and the ball skews away towards the post, and as it goes under the post, Ablett is the only person chasing it down, and we're now looking at the grounding.
I think this is going to be a try. Right, will be given. That is how tight this game is. The ball bounced away from Millington, and 60 seconds later it bounces straight to Ablett. Second try for him. This is a free play for Cass, and they get the ball away. And what a tackle on Dawn, who would have he'd have had Hardache at a beat, but 20 yards out from his own line, Cass have a penalty. Is that the moment? And now the punches are going in. He's taken 72 minutes, Andy Kelly, and finally someone lands one.
Yeah, it's been coming. There's been some aggressive play in this second half. It's surprisingly Sinfield that's in the middle of it. He's the least likely, but he was joined very, very quickly by Captain Peacock, trying to make sure that the enforcer was in the middle alongside his captain Sinfield.
Great tackle on Dawn, by the way, but should there have? Well, I mean, is that a Sinfield's put the head in on Dawn. He's got to go here. He has to go. He's stuck the head on him.
If anybody,
he has got his hands in the pocket. He's off. He's going.
I think Ben Thale has just seen that on the screen.
Sinfield sent off. He's gone. Kevin Sinfield sent off for headbutting Luke Dawn. Wow. The replay was damning Andy Kelly. He had to go.
No, they're not supposed to look at the screen to make the decision.
I think he's seen that, Ben Thale.
But in fairness, he can't avoid seeing it, can he? It's right in his line of view.
Wow, what a game. And Sinfield is sent off with 7 minutes to go, and Dawn was furious. Well, let's be fair, Kevin he has nutted him. He's nutted him.
Isn't he? You can't defend it. It's almost comical because it's so obvious, but you can't defend that action.
Wow, everything. I was saying Leeds have been lucky with the bounce of the ball, but now a couple of calls going against them.
Again, Leeds will be happy not to give away quick play of the ball, but they can't keep absorbing this.
Here they are, they're in! Castleford have scored! Try! And it's that man, Grant Millington, denied by the bounce of the ball. He drives over, back-to-back penalties. The Castleford fans are on their feet. Sneed has a kick to level it up, and don't forget, Sinfield sent off. This is a massive, massive moment in the Super League season.
It is a massive moment, and again we saw that play against the Huddersfield Giants. Millington on the lead, picking up the ball and scoring the points.
It's gone back to Peacock. Wrong option. He's dropped the goal, but he's missed it. Well, surely look at Maguire. He's furious. And there's going to be about 90 seconds left. Well, fair play to Jamie Peacock. He's laughing. But he won't be laughing if Cass go at the other end and score.
Yeah, there's absolutely no way that ball was meant to go to Peacock. And Maguire was furious at that.
9 seconds left.
Wow.
This result will put Leeds top of the table. It won't feel like it, will it? And they're going to lose Sinfield for time for that.
Leeds might almost be happy with a point.
Here is Dawn into the line. He's got Shenton on the inside. Shenton now running back. Gets it to Holmes. Holmes is going to be tackled. Dumps it out the back. Moon catches it. Moon offloads it. Ain offloads it. Ball's gone forward. That's it. Stop the game. 24 points apiece and a standing ovation from everyone in the ground. That is entertainment. There are still 6 more Super League rounds to go. No one's got a clue who's going to win the league. Rugby League is brilliant, Andy Kelly.
It's just been breathtaking. It's been outstanding. It's been awesome. It's been exasperating. It's been aggressive. All the superlatives are there in a game like that. You can just keep reeling them off. And at the end of the day, at 24-24, I guess there's been some fairness dealt out as well.
Super League Live on Radio Yorkshire.
He's played hundreds upon hundreds of games, Kevin. Noted for his discipline, noted for his leadership. In all those games Kev plays, he gets attacked and gets singled out, and people try and run him. And he's had to deal with that throughout his career, and has never breached his own discipline once. And just for all those occasions he's had to endure the opposition trying to get at him, he's just had a bit of a brief flash in the pan incident. I don't think Dawn is going to be walking about with bandages on his head all week, is he? It wasn't, it's not the worst thing, but at the same time, it was the right call from the referee. But there's nobody hurting any more at the moment than Kev. He didn't cost us again. Absolutely didn't cost us again. We conceded too many yards in the first half, too many easy yards in the first half. They have some very good players out with dummy half, Darrell Clark being one of them. But then at this level, you've got to be able to deal with those very, very good players, and we didn't. And conceded one soft try at least in that first half, I thought. But I thought Castleford were great. They're a good team. Cass, they're the real deal. They're not a flash in the pan team that just start off really well. They're continuing this, and that was a tough game to play in. Lost it for half a second. It happens. That's why being mentally tough is tough to do. Having discipline is hard, because if you didn't feel any of the emotion, Kev, that you never lets anybody see. But he's as emotionally, weak or fragile as everybody is. Somebody gets singled out every single game for over 500 odd games that he plays. He has moments of frustration, but we've never ever seen that. So I think we can all afford him a little momentary lapse, can't we, in discipline for 2 seconds. I haven't spoken to Kev, and I have, but not spoke in that depth. I don't know. If I'm going to be a little bit controversial, I thought Donny tied him up. Wrapped him up, had his legs all over the place. It looked like Donny had 3 legs. And then, Ben made a call and said, well, that's not to do with Donny's legs all over you, that's you should have got out with her. We could debate that, but I think that's Kev's frustration. But I'm only guessing because I haven't spoken to him.
Disappointed that the drop goal attempt towards the end ended up in the wrong person's hands.
Yeah, it's just frustration, silly. Just crazy. We're we'll be looking at that area, I'm sure. I don't think JP will be our go-to man again. Would make a nice story. Wouldn't make it any more right though. We're heading into the area of the season now where you've got to be good. Got to be good for the duration of the game, and you've got to nail parts of the game. And we get in there. We get in there. We've had some shaky moments, and over the last 2 to 3 weeks, we just started to look something like. There were some moments tonight where I thought we were very, very good. Castleford defended really well. I didn't think our attack was poor to any degree. I thought Castleford saved some great try-saving opportunities or passages of defensive play. But I think that's an indicator of where we need to be and how good we need to be to get those games. You know, we want to finish top of the tree. There's no secret in that.
Super League Live with Mark Wilson on Radio Yorkshire.
Right, first things first. Point gained, point lost.
Well, I think a point lost. I thought we were the better side across the whole game. There's some areas there that we can improve, but I thought it was a superb effort from everybody on our team. Need a little bit calmer heads at times, and our kicking game needed to be a little bit better. But overall, I'd say it's a point lost. Thought we deserved to win.
There were a couple of key moments in the game. The first one started the second half. Carney's try disallowed. You're obviously not happy with that.
Well, it's the wrong decision. Always will be. I'll look at it 300 times and still come up with the same thing. And I just think some people don't know what they're looking for, and that's disappointing.
Does that side of the game need changing in terms of those decisions and how they're made?
Well, if we want to be a game that's respected, then I think it does, because you look at that and say, well, I've absolutely no clue. And we're consistently having things now, having people talk about the obstruction rule, and not really know where it's going or why decisions are being made. So it's just a consistent theme now. It's they've got to do something about it, because to disallow that is an absolute disgrace.
You fell behind with about 20 minutes left and you had to weather a real big storm, 3 sets on your own line. You must be pleased with the defensive effort that your side showed.
I thought we were outstanding. We had a lack of ability to maintain field position and pressure on Leeds, which was just us really in the way we went about our game. But as a result of that, Leeds made big ground on us, and they were on our line a fair bit. I thought our defensive line was astounding, to be honest. We just kept turning up for each other, and they scored 3 tries from kicks, and they got a little bit of a good fortune on Kyle Ablett's try, which that goes against you at times. You've got to take them on the chin. But I thought we were superb defensively.
Does the way that you play, obviously play some great attacking rugby, but it does mean that the team make mistakes. At times that means you're turning the ball over more than you would. Is there a period of the game where you wish you'd just complete a few sets and play quite boring at times?
Yeah, I don't know about boring. It's when we're getting through on teams, you just calm down. I mean, there was one in the first half that I mentioned at half time. Jake Webster forces one out the back, and we put a speculative kick in. They get a tap 20, end up going up full length of the field. I'd rather him just keep the ball there, and then we can defend. So I want us to play how we play. Obviously, I love the way we play, but then it's calmer heads when we get through, and it's probably we want to pass at 10 for and 90 against, and I think you need a little bit more balance on the percentage count to pass the ball at times. But I'm not going to have a pop at the boys for the way we play. I just think we just need a bit more clarity in our thinking at times.
Everyone will look at Jamie Peacock and how he does, but I want to speak to you about Andy Lynch. Thought it was immense for the spell he was on the pitch.
Well, he's just been incredible all year, to be honest, and I know JP gets a lot of credit, and so he should. He's a phenomenal player, but Andy Lynch rivals him for me. He's been a bit of a catalyst for us and our middlemen, alongside the other boys as well. But he has been. He is one of the best professionals I've ever seen, and he goes about his business in a outstanding way, and he transfers all that onto the field of play.
Luke Dawn had a fantastic game, I guess, justifying your reasons for giving him a rest every now and then.
Oh well, I dropped him, and he responded in an outstanding way. I thought he was the best player on the field tonight. He looked so sharp and inventive, and he caused him a hell of a lot of trouble. He forced the pass a little bit at times, but I thought he was outstanding.
Was involved in the Sinfield incident. Any thoughts on the red card? Was it the right decision?
Oh yeah, certainly. I think it's not like Kevin. I won't imagine he's done that before, and he probably won't do it again. and it got a little bit heated there. But obviously, it's not something you can do on the field of play.
They put a lot of work through Liam Finn. I thought defensively stood up really well. What were your thoughts?
He's done well, hasn't he? I think that was one of the question marks over him when he came into Super League. Is can he defend when people come at him physically, and can his pace handle the teams when they stretch him? And I think on both counts he's put big ticks across alongside his name.
As a fan or as a media person watching that game, it's breathtaking. What's it like for you as a coach?
No, pretty similar, to be honest. Yeah, you just thinking. Yeah, it takes a lot of your energy, to be honest. Sometimes I go in there after a game and just say to the boys, "Oh, I've got nothing, fellas. It's taken all my energy that game." And I enjoy watching us play. I think the boys have been fantastic again tonight, and it's about maintaining it for us now, keeping our composure, getting a little bit better in a couple of areas, and continuing to put teams under pressure, because that's what we've been good at all year. And if we can maintain that, then we're a chance of being there right at the end of both comps, which obviously be unbelievable for us.
Super League Review with Mark Wilson on Radio Yorkshire.